Hey everyone, this is Steve from PublishPress, and in this video I'm going to answer a customer question. We're going to be using the PublishPress Future plugin, and also to answer the customer question we'll be using ACF. The customer had a question about how they can update ACF fields after a post is published. Let's take a look at an example. I have a WordPress post here, and there's an ACF field at the bottom. This controls whether a post needs an update or not. So by default, there's going to be no update needed at this time. But what this customer wanted was to change that setting after about a year. So after a year, he automatically wants the metadata to change to update needed because that post needs a refresh. We can do this using ACF and PublishPress Future, and I'm going to show you how. Let's take a look at our setup inside ACF right now. If I go to ACF and the field groups, I have one field here. I've set it up as a radio button, and I've set it up with two different choices. Either no update at this time or update needed. So this is an example. We're using a radio button field, but the same approach could apply for any of these ACF fields. You'll be able to update them on a schedule you want using the PublishPress Future plugin. Let's see how. The key thing I'm going to need is information about the particular field I want to update, and what I need exactly is the name of this particular field. This is the name value here, and if you copy that, you're going to need it in a couple of steps. Now PublishPress Future comes into play. I have the pro version of the plugin installed for this tutorial. I'm going to add a new workflow, and this is going to start when the post is first published. And in the right sidebar, I can choose which types of posts this applies to. You could choose posts, pages, or any other kind of custom post type you have. Then next, the important thing is going to be the schedule. This particular customer wanted to wait, let's say 1 year before their post shows that it needs an update. So in the right sidebar, the default is as soon as possible, but we're going to change that to relative to a specific date. And in particular, it's going to be relative to when the trigger is activated. So the trigger is post is published, and then the schedule step is going to start working immediately on that. The default here is 7 days. We can change that to 365 days. So it's going to wait exactly 1 year before it happens. Next, we can decide what happens. I'm going to choose to update the post meta. ACF uses metadata stored in the database, and that's what we're going to modify. We're going to modify it from update not needed to update needed. So I'm going to select this action here, and then I'm going to enter the meta key in here. So needs an update that we copied from ACF goes right in here. What I'm going to do next is choose the value that's going to be added. Because we know exactly what the new information is going to be, we can just enter it directly into that box there. However, you can get fancy and make this a dynamic update. If you click on that icon there, you can get all sorts of information about the post, about the site itself, about the user that activated the workflow. All sorts of different kinds of information could be inserted here dynamically. For example, you could add the title dynamically, or some of the content, or the excerpt, or the status of the post. We're using just a very simple plain text example here, but you could wait a year and then use some fancy criteria to update this meta value. But this is all we need. I'm going to give the workflow name. Okay, update ACF field after 1 year. And I'm going to save that workflow. And now I'm going to test it out. Don't worry, you don't have to wait a year. You can do it now. I'll show you how. So I'm going to go to the post area and add a new post. Down in the bottom, I can see my field. No update at this time is set as the default. So what I hope is, as soon as I hit publish, there's going to be a countdown clock that's going to start in PublishPress Future, and 365 days later, the data is going to change to update needed. So I've published this now, and hopefully that countdown clock has started working. I can run the schedule now, so I don't have to wait a whole year. I can go to PublishPress Future. I can click on the Scheduled Actions button up at the top. And here we have the action that is set up to run in 12 months' time. We are using the Update ACF field after 1 year workflow. The trigger is when the post is published. This is the post that the workflow has started for. And the next step is going to be to update the post meta. That looks correct. But what I'm going to do is test it now to see if it's actually set up exactly how I need it. I'll click on Run. And now I'm going to go to Posts. I will edit the post that we had there a few moments ago. And now the ACF field has been automatically updated. This is working. If you wanted to get a little fancy, you could go back to your workflow. You can edit the workflow, and you could add another step, such as sending an email. By default, the recipient is the administrator of the site, but you can enter an email address in here, or you can make it dynamic. For example, you can go and find the author of the post and enter their email in there. There we go. We've added my own custom email address and also dynamically the author of the post. So you can send them an email after a year and say, you're the author, please update this. So here's the message down here. I'm going to say, please update this post. And I will update that. And let me give you one final test of this to see if it's working as we want it to. I'm going to enable a logging plugin just so I can quickly test and see the emails that are being sent from this workflow. I'm going to go to add a new post. And we have the ACF field as we need it right now. I'm going to publish this. And now hopefully in 365 days, the ACF field on this post will be updated and an email will get sent out. First, I'm going to check the action is in place. I'll go to Future, Action Workflows, and Scheduled Actions. And there we go. We have this update ready to go in a year's time. I'm going to run it now though. I'm going to process the action now by clicking on Run. I'm going to go to the email logs of the plugin I installed, and there's an email that's gone out. I click on View Content, and that is the email from the workflow that we set up. So what you've seen is a fairly straightforward example using PublishPress Future to update some custom fields in advanced custom fields. ACF is a very powerful and popular plugin, but so is PublishPress Future. Together, they're a great combination. You can use both of these plugins to store data and update it in all sorts of sophisticated ways. Give PublishPress Future a try today. It's the plugin for scheduling changes to your WordPress content.